I'm going to ask you about how old you were when you first made a garland. Can you remember?
Well, I went round with one when I was very young, but I must admit I didn't make it. We picked the flowers.
How young was that?
Well, about 5, I suppose.
Was it? Yes, you went round with it.
I always used to go round with Gertie and John Woodley, that lived next door. My mum used to make the garland. We used to pick the flowers.
Yeah.
And Mum used to make the garland.
Yeah.
Hang it on the line overnight, and then we used to go round all the houses.
Yeah.
To get the money.
Yeah.
To spend.
Yeah. Oh, that's different.
Well, it was, kids needed money years ago.
Yeah.
It was a treat, you know.
Yes, didn't have much.
No.
No. What, do you remember what flowers you picked?
Yeah, we used to pick some beautiful, what we used to call goosey ganders were our favourite. They were like little wild orchids.
Yes. I think they're the early purple.
Smell. And they were purple, real purple. And we used to pick some flowers. It was like a dead nettle, but it was yellow.
Oh, it's a yellow archangel.
We used to call it pots and pans. Why, I don't know. Have you heard of that, pots and pans?
I haven't heard that name.
And then we used to blue butchers. I think there's some flowers called blue butchers. And cowslips and moon daisies and buttercups and cow parsley and yellow flags, you know, for the top.
Yeah. But you'd have to go, would you not have to go quite a long way for the yellow flags? Did you go a long way to find these?
We used to do all our flower picking down the Buckland Road.
Yeah, in the fields down there?
Yeah, there used to be 2 or 3 fields that were owned by an Ormstrom's, 2 Mr Busbys, Billy and, I forget his other name, but they used to take the cows backwards and forwards. You know, we used to go down to what we call Busbys fields, and you only had to go into the one field, you could get everything. And then of course the brook was nearby, get the flags. Yeah. There wasn't any trouble getting any flowers.
Why do you think that it's difficult now, isn't it?
Well, it's all this insecticide and stuff, isn't it? Yeah. I think it killed it off. Yeah. Really.
Very sad.
Because it's beginning to come back now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of it's coming back now, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But we didn't have to go, I mean, we used to have to walk down the Buckland Road to get them.
Yeah.
That was quite great.
Yes. And did you do that night before?
We did it all the weekend.
Okay.
We put them in a great big bungalow bath, you know, one of these big
tin baths.
Tin baths.
Yeah.
Start like that, put them in there and then bunch them up at night. Bunch them up in little bunches on the Sunday night, and Mum would put them on there.
And your mum made the frame for underneath?
Yeah, we used to get the willow sticks.
Did you go and cut the willow sticks, or did she?
I think my mum and my dad used to do that.
Oh right, okay.
I can't remember cutting the sticks.
Yeah.
Probably my dad.
Yeah. Where did they have to go for that, or were they all around?
Road.
Up the Buckland Road.
Did a lot of things down
You did, didn't you? Yes. Spent the money on sweets. Where was the sweetie shop? Was that Mrs. Rogers?
Yeah, Mrs. Rogers. We used to go. I don't know if she used to open on Saturdays. I can't remember. Well, Emma's.
Oh yes, that's.
And there used to be where Adrian's is now. That was a sweet shop.
Yeah.
And then I know we used to go and get sweets because we didn't have many sweets.
Yes, that's really special.
And of course, when the war came, we couldn't have sweets because we were rationed, weren't we?
Yeah.
But before then, we used to spend it on sweets. I don't think we spent it on anything else. I think some of it we used to save till we could get some more sweets.
Yeah. In the middle of the garland, there's something, isn't there? What is it that's in the middle of the garland you have?
Well, usually a little doll.
Ah, did it matter what kind?
No, I don't think so. I think we used to have a doll, whereas nowadays they put teddies and things, but I think we used to have a doll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Ted Dixie, they didn't have a doll, they put a toy frog in the middle.
Did they?
Yes. Oh. Well, that was the only photograph
See,
I got.
Edie Forshaw told me that whereas we always had the yellow irises, you know, the flags then, we call them, on the top, Edie Forshaw said when she was a little girl, they always had a peony, a garden peony on the top.
Yes.
So that changed over the years.
Yes.
You had to have all wildflowers.
Yes.
You know, they had to be wild. You couldn't have horse chestnut. You couldn't have May, and you couldn't have sainfoin. Is it sainfoin?
Sainfoin, yes.
It's a pink flower.
Yes.
You couldn't have that in it. If you did, you were disqualified. But you see, the thing was, we used to go to Church Gate House, Church Gate, to be judged. Well, you could go if you wanted to, but we never used to go there.
Why not?
Well, because we might be disqualified if we'd had it wrong. And also we had books for prizes, and it was a foregone conclusion who was going to win. The same people used to win every year.
Who won every year?
No, I'm not going to say. I'm not mentioning any names,
All
I
right.
shan't get into trouble.
Well, that's
There used to be a little man called Jackie Bliss, lived at Churchgate, a little tiny man, and he used to do the judging, and Mrs. Lovett used to live at the tall house as you come into,
yeah.
you're coming in from Whitley Road into, by the fire station, there's a tall house. Mrs. Bourne, I think, used to live in it. She used to be at church,
Yes.
but we didn't bother to go there.
But now you're the judge, aren't you?
Yeah, I helped the judge. Irish Empress always did the judging, you see,
Oh.
when she was alive, and then when, I don't know how many years ago it was, because years go by so quick, don't they? She said to me one day, would I help her? And I did, and then after she gave it up, I sort of kept it going, tried to anyway, you know.
There was one year when there was nobody, isn't that right?
There was one year, I don't know how many years ago that is now, I came over in the lunch hour and I made this little tiny weeny one quick,
Yes.
just to say that it,
The tradition had gone on.
yeah, so that it wasn't broken.
Yes. Do you know, I mean, it must start way back in the mist of time, but do we have any idea when it started?
Roy said to me today, he said it probably started before the Morris dancing, so I don't know.
It sounds to me, because it's got this doll in the middle, it sounds like sort of pre-Christian fertility symbol or something,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
yeah.
As if it could have been gone for
Yeah,
eons
I
back.
wouldn't know how long it's been.
Yeah,
Years
but it's
ago.
wonderful. I mean, I think it's also wonderful that you kept it going at that
I
point.
think the rate this year, wasn't it, at the
Yes.
judging?
Yes.
That was good.
That is good, isn't
Yeah.
it? Because I think Vera goes up to the school and encourages the school, doesn't she? And so long as the school does
Well,
it.
I went up about, I think it was 2 years ago or 3 years, they asked me if I would go up to the play group and do this demonstration. What I did, I didn't want to have any flowers that were going to die, so I got a load of little artificial flowers and I bunched them all up and I took a frame up and I made a complete garland to
Yes,
show the ladies how to do it.
yes.
And I kept it for ages. It was so pretty because it was
Yeah.
all, you know, nice little bunches of flowers.
And it wouldn't fade.
And not one person bothered to make one. Now I think that's sad.
Yes,
Because if you don't encourage the children aren't going to do it, are they?
No.
You've got to have the mums and dads to encourage the
Yeah,
kids.
yeah. Those children that do it will remember how lovely it was
That's
to do
right,
it, and
yeah.
they'll want to do it with their
Yeah.
children, as long as
Because
they're saying about it.
Shane Beckett, his wife works in the butcher's, I don't know if you know Jackie. but
Probably do.
Well,
Oh, yes.
she said to me that Shane was a bit upset because I had said that the children could put some ordinary flowers in. Because when flowers was hard to get, I said, if you put a few cultivated ones on the top, but add the sides wild, you know, I'd let that pass because
Yeah.
they were so hard to get. And he was quite put out because I said they had to have some garden ones in it. I said, you don't have to,
Yeah.
but you know, you can do. She said he's going to make his little grandchildren one, which I thought was lovely, and he did. And they actually won a prize.
That's lovely. Yes,
It's
that's
lovely.
very, very nice. They all get
And
something,
Jenny
don't they?
Constable, you see,
Yes.
they made one for their little grandchildren. Well, they might make them in years to come, mightn't
Yeah.
they?
Let's hope. Yes.
So, carry it on.
Yes. Yes.
It-
When as a judge, what do you look for?
Well, we look for, like, see what the top's like,
Yeah.
you know, to see if they got the flags or anything like that in it. And then to see if it's neat, you know, if it's bunched up sort of very neat.
Yeah.
Because when we used to do it, you sort of had, like Vera does, you know, like white and then maybe yellow and then pink.
Yeah.
See, make sure there's no horse chestnut or anything like that in it, you know.
I'm interested in that because I know when I was a child they said it's very unlucky to bring May blossom into the house.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why you don't have May blossom.
Yeah.
I wonder why not the horse chestnut
I
though.
don't know.
I wonder if that was a similar.
I don't know.
I might try and look that up.
Yeah.
And what was it? You weren't allowed May blossom. You weren't allowed horse chestnut. What was the other thing?
Saffron, because it was
Saffron.
cultivated.
Because it was a crop, and
Yeah,
they didn't want the
it's a crop.
crops destroyed. Yes,
Yeah.
you can understand that. Yes, that's interesting. And the doll in the middle, is it dressed or undressed, or it doesn't matter?
Just a little dolly.
Just a little dolly.
I made a garland once for Lynn when she was a little tiny girl with her little cousin, and I did it really special because although I say to myself, if I had the flowers I can make a good one, you know,
Yeah.
because my mum used to make a lovely one. And I actually lined it as well. I covered the sticks inside as well as outside
With flowers
with
inside
flowers
and
exactly inside, and it was lovely. It wasn't very
a
big,
little bower.
and put this little dolly in. And there used to be, I don't know if you remember, there used to be an old man called Alec Townsend. Do you remember when Alec Townsend lived down Weald?
Yeah.
He lived with a back in that place. And I think it was his sister came from some old people's home to see the Garlands and Morris dancing. And she said to me, and they won first prize, and she said to me, oh, what do you do with it? She said, I said, well, it just stays, hangs about till it dies. Oh, she said, I'd love to take that back to my home where I live, she said, and I'll pay you for it. She gave me £0.50. She gave me £0.50 for it.
You better just say what £0.50 is.
Yeah, 2 and 6pence. Well, how much is, oh Janet, how much is £0.50?
12.5.
12.5p, isn't it? Yeah. But I mean, that was a lot then.
Yeah.
Because Lynn's 50 and she was about, I suppose she's about 5.
Yeah.
So 45 years ago.
Yes,
I mean,
there's a lot.
£0.50 could buy a lot of things.
Yes. Yes. Is there anything else I should be asking you that we've left out?
Well, this is for the future, really. I mean,
Of course.
years ago, children didn't take their garlands into the church.
Yes.
There's no way that they took them into the church. But since they have the Flower Festival, it seems that, I don't know who started it, but they seem to have a pew where they put their garlands across the pew. Well, a few years ago, I had a message from one of the ladies at the church to say, oh, Mrs. Wheeler, could you please come and clear the garlands up because they're making such a mess? Well, I mean, it wasn't up to me to really to go and do it, but I did. I went and there were 5 garlands. I took them outside, I dismantled them, I put them all in the bin, cleared up in the pew, brought sticks home, nice broomsticks, and I thought, well, this is none really, it's not up to me to have to clear it up really. I did that 2 years running. So in the beam I put this in that you must take responsibility for your garland. This year, Vera said to me, who clears up from the garlands, because somebody got onto her about the mess, And I said, well, I did say that they must be responsible for their own. I've still got 2 lovely sticks out there that people had put through that they never collected. I told them that I'd cleared it all up. Because it made such a mess.
Yeah. Perhaps you better give them, when they bring their garlands to the in front of the
I have to
jubilee, give them a
tell
little note.
I have to
So,
tell them, won't I?
Yeah. Yes, I'll tell them. Yeah.
Perhaps I didn't read. I
They-
don't know who put
they
them
shouldn't
in, but
read.
there were about 3 or 4 in
Yes.
there, weren't there?
Oh, that's very nice though.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
Although it's interesting, I think, because if they were a pagan thing, which they obviously were, get taken into a Christian church.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
I mean, they look
interesting.
nice when they're on
Yes, lovely, and it's nice to
Yeah.
involve the children like
Yeah.
that, isn't it?
that. But I mean, we never used it. Well, they didn't used to have a flower festival. I expect it was all done since they had the flower festival,
Yes. Yes.
But I don't know who started it. They look quite pretty, but they make a mess with them.
Well,
And they
flowers
grow
do in the
over.
house,
Yeah,
don't they?
yeah.
Anyway.
And it's not up to the people that do the flower festival to have to clean it up, is it?
No.
If they
no,
do their
no.
bit, really.
Can you use the frame? Can you use that following year, or does it go
Oh,
brittle?
yeah.
Yeah, so you can use it year after year
Yeah,
once you've made
yeah.
one.
I had about 5 or 6 in my shed one year
Yeah.
that I collected round.
Yeah.
These that I dismantled.
Yes.
And then I took some up to school, but I don't know what happened. Don't think they use them. Vera made 15, I think she said, this year.
Did she?
Yeah.
But you got 8.
I think there were more garlands in the village than 8, but I don't think more than 8 came to be judged.
Oh.
Iris always used to say, she'd say to the children, did you make it yourselves? Well, there's not many children that do make them themselves. It's
Yeah.
usually the mums that make the
Yeah.
garlands.
Yeah.
Kids used to pick the flowers, but
Yeah.
the mums used to make them.
It's a family thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's also that doesn't matter.
That's what I liked about that very simple one, because it looked as if the children had actually done it, and I thought, well, good on you.
I mean, when the people that live in Queen Street in Little Place Cottage, when she first came, they made this little garland, and it was so sweet. They came to see the Morris dance, and it was just one little ring like that with a few flowers just stuck round it. And I thought, but they tried.
Yes.
They didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, and another time we'll know more
do
about it, you see.
Yeah.
They just done this one like a hoop
Yes.
and some little flowers round it.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, at least they tried.
Yes. Lovely.
I mean, I always used to make Pat Curtis a garland. She said the other day, about, do you remember when I used to make my garland? I don't know. I think we must have gone down the Buckingham Road to get those. But the last lot, I can't remember the last garland I made. But I went to a little paddock by Alvescott Church. You know where you go to the church?
Yes.
There used to be a
Behind
paddock there
there.
that used to have lovely flowers. A
Yeah.
real, like,
An old meadow.
an old meadow, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's one, I think, where Vera goes to the airstrip out by Brattle Grove,
Yeah.
somewhere, Broadwell out that
Yeah.
way. And there's a meadow.
Yeah.
But you can't get these lovely little orchids now anywhere.
You're not allowed to pick them.
No.
No.
Even if you could, I don't think you could find them, Janet.
You can find them in a few places if they haven't, if the agriculture hasn't touched
They
them.
used to smell so
Yeah.
lovely.
It's sad, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, the springtime fields used to be like a garden,
I know.
didn't they?
Yeah. And we used to say, if we, kids all together used to go see, if we got a nice patch, we used to say, itch my patch. See? And then if you said that, no one else used to pick there. But now they wouldn't do that, would they? They'd be scrambled. Same with violets, they used to say, itch my patch. You've got a nice lot of violets.
Did you pick flowers for anything else? Did you do it for Mothering Sunday or anything?
Yes, we used to pick violets for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Mothering Sunday.
Yeah.
And we used to take these, bunch them up in little tiny bunches. And Mrs. Bampton, who was the vicar's wife then, she used to, I can always remember, she used to put them on a tray with like, you know, raffia sort of around the edge. Lay them all on, and they used to go to the altar and be blessed. We used to go, some of the big houses that had violets, we used to pick those. Didn't have to be wild, you know. We used to go to a place at Broad Street which had a lovely garden full of white violets. And then we used to go, all the hedges you see had violets years ago. There again you say, hitch out my patch. Big face.
Yeah.
Bunch them up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's lovely.
Who finances the prizes?
Oh, I must tell you that, yes, because ages ago, Mrs. Phillips and Jonathan used to buy sweets and things, and Rosie Garland, bless her, always gave me a £5 note to get some sweets. And then one day, 3 years ago I think it was, Rose Sweetenham said, I wouldn't mind sponsoring the Garlands, Ruth, as long as it keeps it on, you know, to keep it going. And bless her, she gave me 50 quid. And she said, spend what you like out of that. And I said, well, I shan't need all that. She said, well, spend what you have to, and I'll have the change. So we spent chocolates then, we gave the children. But this year, I said, a lot of children don't have chocolate and that now. So we gave them money. And I spent £37. No, £33. And bought some little bars of chocolate with the £5 that Rosie gave me. Rosie Garrett, Rosie. And then we give all the kids that are in the crowd and everywhere little bars of chocolate and that, you know.
Yeah.
And we gave all the kids that were in 50p or a pound. I had a lot of 50 pences and they all had something.
That's lovely.
All the ones that, you know.
Yeah.
I gave £4 each to the winners and £3 to the second, £2 to the third, and all the others had a pound each.
Yeah.
And some of them had an extra 50p because I had some more 50p.
Yeah.
And all the kids had sweets.
So it's been kept going by those people.
So Rosie and John actually sponsor the garden,
Yes. Yeah.
which I think is lovely. of
It is. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
And then, of course, we have the plaque that Dawn Knight had done for a little girl that got killed,
Yeah.
Karina. She used to love she loved everything that was small, Karina did. She loved little tiny animals, you know, little ornaments, little flowers.
Yeah.
Sweet little girl she was.
So there's a plaque now for the winner, is there?
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, Dawn Knight.
In
she
memory of
always
Dawn Knight.
presents. She always presents that. She helps me with the judging, you know.
Yeah. Perfect. I think it's a wonderful tradition. I think it's fantastic that you've kept it going.
See, Vera's mother, she was great doing it, like my mum, you know, all the
Yeah.
mums she's had. But Vera's really into it, you know,
Yes, but
She's
you as
very-
well. I mean, it's
she's
very
very good.
important.
yeah, but she goes to the trouble of getting the flowers, and she's got grandchildren, you see,
Yes.
which, the only other thing was, years ago, I remember,
Wait a minute till this aeroplane is finished. Like.
years ago, when Iris was a counsellor, you see, we used to call her Counsellor Humphreys. She was very nice, but she was adamant that children shouldn't have a garden unless they lived in Bampton. Well, to me that's all wrong, because as long as they keep the tradition up, I don't care where they come from, quite honestly. I don't know how you feel about that, but I know my sister-in-law's, my brother-in-law's wife, her sister wanted to put her children in, and she said no,
Where do
because
they
they
live?
don't live in Bampton.
Where do they live?
But you see, Vera's grandchildren don't live in Bampton, but why should Vera's children have it? What's
Well,
it matter?
It doesn't matter.
No.
Anything that I think makes children interested in tradition
right,
and interested
yeah.
in wildflowers,
Yeah.
very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, it's the same with Easter bonnets. If they want to come from Whitney and have a bonnet, good luck to them.
How long has the Easter Bonnets one been going, do you know?
The Pumpkin Club started off the Easter bonnets,
Yeah.
and we used to have a real good Easter bonnet parade, but it was in the evenings, and so the men and women all used to take part, and then of course we'd go around the pubs, you see, and have a collection for
All 14 of
the
them.
Pumpkin Club.
Yeah.
I remember once going to Aston one night, we all went, but then of course they started it in the afternoon and it fell off, and it was one Good Friday. I was round the cemetery, but Josephine was there, and I said to Josephine, "Do you know, Josephine?" I said, "We could have an Easter bonnet thing. If it might be quick, but we could do it to keep it going." I said, "But we'd have to have it on the Monday because it was Easter Saturday. You know, it's a bit too quick." So we did one for the Easter Monday, and ever since then we've had one on the Easter Saturday.
Yeah.
So Lizzie and Josephine and I kept it. We did
kept that one going too?
Yeah.
How many bonnets do you get now?
We had quite a few this year.
You did anonymous.
Put them all on the table.
Yes.
They're not very good, Janet. Put them all on the table and then get a judge to judge them on the table.
Yes.
So that they don't know whose
Yes.
hat is what.
Yes.
You know, so.
Do you know, I've never been aware of the Easter bonnet competition. I suppose I've always been so busy doing other things.
Well, because I'm involved in the plant sale, I never get to be
Well,
involved either.
I started doing a raffle for like charity, you know.
Yeah.
Used to do an Easter bonnet, what I called an Easter bonnet raffle.
Oh yeah.
Like I did it for the Spadgers one year.
I see them, Jen. Just haven't.
I did it for the Spadgers one year. I did it for. I got lots of photographs of the kids with the Easter bonnets outside, you know, by the
Yes.
War Memorial, somewhere or other. And I started doing one for Morris dancing. I did one for 2 or 3 times. I did raffle for the Morris dancers, and then I thought, oh, I'd do it for another charity. So I did it for Helen House.
Oh yes.
I
Yeah.
started doing it for Helen House, and I do this big raffle in the pub. And this year I made £250, £280 I think it was this year. The year before last I made 380 with raffle
Yeah.
prizes,
Yeah.
and I've been doing that for a few years now.
This year was hard actually because the weather was so horrible.
Yeah.
Nobody, you know, we're down on numbers, weren't we? Yes.
But,
No, well done.
I mean, we used to have such fun going around with the Easter bonnets because we used to go around and I always remember Ken Mullis made one year, and it was like the hill.
He's the plumber.
Yeah, he made this like a hat with like a hill with the 3 crosses on, like a proper Easter thing, you know.
Calvary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one year I made Adrian, out of my old bicycle basket, I made him chicken and chips in the basket. Put this whole basket on the front, off the front of my bicycle, and got some foam and cut some chips and crocheted 2 little chickens.
That's fantastic.
And when I made him, I had a sombrero, and a great big sombrero, so I made it like a pond with like an island in the middle, and I made some fish on wires and stuck them up, looked like they were swimming. Oh, we used to have such fun. Yeah.
Why do you think that sort of thing has gone down, hasn't it? The interest in that kind of thing.
I don't know. I think it would have been all right if the grown-ups had kept it on, you know. But a lot of people don't want to make fun now, do they? Do you know what I mean? They don't.
But why is it?
I don't know.
Do you think they'd all just watch television instead?
I think so. Yeah. Can't be bothered.
So do you think John Quick was right? Because he did Spadgers because
John
he
Quick.
thought
He
television
did,
would
yeah.
undermine everything, didn't he?
He was again that. He was saying, I'm again that. I'm again that.
Is that television?
Yeah. He's again
Yes,
it.
because he thought it would undermine everything, all the things that people do for the village. Yeah.
He started the Spadgers to stop people watching telly.
Yeah. Yeah. He had a point, I think.
Yeah, there's lots of traditions that.
Anyway, you've kept
shame.
them going. I mean, you've kept the Garland going and the Easter Bonnets and that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
do it as long as I can.